Hello, welcome back. Today is Sunday and it is the last game before we figure out who goes to the Super Bowl. So that means that the Super Bowl is relatively around the corner, and what that means for me is I need to get my butt into game and make some healthy treats. So my two favorite things to make for Super Bowl parties is my cashew cheese sauce, which no one knows is made of cashews. It legit tastes like nachos. So of course I'm all about my healthy treats, and I'm always trying to bring something a little bit more healthy to these kind of parties, especially because most people are just drinking beer and eating crap. So healthy cheese sauce and best ever lemon bars. They're super good, high in protein, and if I have enough lemons, I will actually use lemons from the yard. Low sugar, high protein lemon bars, and then this cheese sauce is actually made of vegetables and cashews. So wait till I show you guys. Side note, I'm not a huge fan of football. I don't have anything against it. I just didn't necessarily grow up watching football, but one of my favorite parts about going to Super Bowl parties was always the food. And now that I'm this healthy foodie, I am really into making healthier treats to bring to parties and just blowing people's mind when I see them actually like loving what I make, and then I end up telling them how healthy it is and what I put in it. So you've got to try making at least one of these recipes if you're planning on going to a Super Bowl party and you need to bring something. Highly recommend it. What's the perk? You have healthy treats to snack on, and you don't have to worry about splurging on a bunch of crap. So here we go. I'm gonna start by making the cheese sauce, and while the cheese sauce ingredients are getting prepped, we're gonna make the lemon bars. We need to cook up the butternut squash. Last night I soaked the cashews. They just need to soak for about 8 hours, or you plan it out right, you can do it overnight. But right now we're gonna roast the butternut squash. This is gonna take 30 minutes to an hour, so we want to get a start on that right now. Or you can always do it the day before too if you don't have time the next day or the day of that you want to make the cheese sauce. To save time as well, I bought the butternut squash from Costco, pre-chopped and peeled. Honestly, I do think that it tastes better when you chop it and peel it yourself, but it's kind of a lot of work. So I'm showing you the easier way to do this. So simple. I'm gonna show you how to make butternut squash candies. Like, once you roast these up, they're gonna be so good. You only need a cup. The rest you can just munch on. This is my favorite butternut squash recipe. So I'm going to coat it in some olive oil, or you could use avocado oil. And then I'm literally just gonna sprinkle salt, black pepper, and oregano. Those are the key 3 ingredients. Gotta love Redmond's real salt. I would recommend this, Old Celtic sea salt, over any other type of salt.
Wine time.
Wine time. And we're gonna do some black pepper. Ideally, fresh ground. Ideally, freshly dried oregano, if you can grow your own oregano, but I don't have those ingredients on hand. So, working with what we got, it's gonna be good. I am going to just roast this at 375 until all of the pieces get soft and kind of browned around the edges. So it'll probably take about 30 to 45 minutes. I am also going to throw our jalapeno and red bell pepper probably in the toaster oven as well. I will rotate these at least halfway through. All right, ready to go in? Okay, so we've got our butternut in the oven for our cheese sauce. In the meantime, we are going to start the lemon bars. So I'm gonna make my own almond flour. Just taking some organic almonds from Costco and blending them up into a flour. This recipe calls for a lot of almond flour. Let's blend this baby up. I just like to give it a little shake so it doesn't turn into almond butter. All right, so the crust calls for 2.5 cups. So there's one. A 1/4 cup of coconut oil plus an 1/8. Don't know why my original recipe calls for that, so I'm just gonna do a 1/4 cup and then eyeball the 1/8. I'm gonna do about 1/2 of a 1/4. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. An 1/8 teaspoon of stevia. This is optional, you really don't have to do it. I am literally just gonna do a very light sprinkle. Or you could do honey or coconut sugar. And about a pinch of salt, so I'm just gonna sprinkle the salt. Now we're gonna stir it all up together and we'll have our crust for these lemon bars. So we're gonna take our crust, line the pan with it. This is a 9 by 12 inch pan. If you want the crust thicker, use a smaller pan. But keep in mind, with a large pan like this, you don't need to cook it as long, or if you end up using a smaller pan, you're gonna need to cook it a little bit longer than what I end up doing for this recipe. Voila! So we need 2.5 cups of almond flour for the filling. So 2 and about 1/2. About a cup of lemon juice. I like these lemon bars better when I use Meyer's lemon juice, but this is all I have right now. It's the Santa Cruz brand, and it's literally just organic lemon juice, nothing else added. So I'm gonna do a cup, or if you have lemons, about 6 lemons. Okay, and then the recipe actually calls for a zest of 2 lemons. I'm gonna start by doing 6 drops of lemon oil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that was 7. 1 to 2 teaspoons of stevia, 5 eggs. So it's a high protein recipe. High protein, high fat. 2. Okay, maybe I'm... Oh no. Shit. Oh no. Oh no. Shit. Okay, I'm making a mess now. Okay, now for extra protein, I'm gonna add a couple scoops of peptides. 1, 2, about 2 tablespoons, maybe a little bit more. A very small sprinkle of salt. That's all we're starting with for now. All right, let's blend this baby up. It needs more sweetener, but the lemon oil is perfect. 1/2 teaspoon of stevia, and then if I need to, I can add more. I'm gonna add the rest of the stevia. Also gonna add a little bit of vanilla. 1 teaspoon. I think I might just add a little bit more stevia. I'm gonna leave it at that. I think sugar would make this even better, but I'm trying to keep my sugars low. So now we're just going to pour our mixture over the crust. All right, so our butternut, squash, and bell pepper are done cooking. So I have 1 cup of butternut squash here, a whole jalapeno, probably won't put the whole thing in, and then I ended up having to cut the bell pepper in half. I ended up cooking this for 40 minutes at 375. And then, as I mentioned before, I soaked these in filtered water, cashews, overnight. You could also soak it for about like 8 hours. So this is 3 cups of soaked cashews. We're literally just gonna blend everything in the Vitamix. If you have a food processor, that may also work. I have a 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast. That is the key. Like, the nutritional yeast is what makes it cheesy. Like, you cannot skip that ingredient. If you want to make this really good quality, use Redmond salt or Celtic sea salt. Much higher in minerals, much more pure of a salt. Do not use salt from the grocery store. It contains all kinds of impurities that we don't even know about because the FDA does not, they let so much stuff fly. So 1 tablespoon. And then I have 1.5 cups of filtered water using my Mount Whitney glass. I got this when I went backpacking the High Sierras. And then I'm just gonna dump our butternut squash and bell pepper in there. So this is a jalapeno. I roasted it up. I'm just going to start by doing about 1/3. See how hot it is. If you want to go for a hot jalapeno, like one trick for picking out heat in a pepper is to look for stretch marks and change in color. But when you see stretch marks on a pepper, that means usually that it's going to be pretty hot. If you're trying to make jalapeno poppers and you don't want them too hot so that you can eat the whole thing, go for a jalapeno that's really shiny, definitely that doesn't have stretch marks. You want it smooth, shiny, and green, very green. Sometimes I'll just like touch my tongue to it and test it, but I'm just gonna start with 1/3 of a jalapeno and see where we're at. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I love this brand. Pure lemon juice, nothing added. Got all of our ingredients in there. All right, so Simple Mills is one of my favorite brands. I don't usually eat crackers or chips too often, but if I'm going to, they always make gluten-free crackers, and these were cheddar. So I figured they would maybe go with my cheese sauce really well. Highly recommend this brand though, across the board. I do think the cheese sauce tastes better with tortilla chips, but I was at Sprouts and I couldn't help getting these. I was really hungry. So I'm gonna try the cheese sauce. Ooh. I mean, yeah. Look at it. Wow. It's got a kick. Okay, so I did end up adding another 1/3 of the jalapeno, so this is all that's left. I don't think I'm gonna add too much more because I want to be able to enjoy it over some pasta and have healthy mac and cheese with this too. So I don't want it to be too hot, but if you're just eating it as a dip, you could really make it as hot as you want. Put the whole thing in there. Oh, and here comes the kitty. Okay. Otis! You just wanted to steal the show.